wasn't paying a lot of attention, but ChatGPT, the chat model, was appeasing people a bit too hard. You could convince it into agreeing that, that an answer that was clearly wrong was correct, and it would be very, very afraid and hesitant to prove or to call you out on being wrong. What caused this? We've rolled back last week's GPT 4.0 update in ChatGPT, so people are now using an earlier version with more balanced behavior. So a rollback in the software development world is when you, well, it is what it is. You roll back a release so that you're working with a previous version. So it's a bit of a regression. You know, you're expecting latest features as time goes on, but this is reverting you back to an old feature set. Not great. It only is done by software companies when something tremendously, catastrophically goes wrong. The update we removed was overly flattering or agreeable, often described as sycophantic. I like how they picked that word sycophantic because the combination of overly flattering and agreeable captures a human persona that is not likable. Yet we know people like this. And it begs the question that if ChatGPT or AI models, large language models, can take on a persona that is agreeable and overly flattering, can it take on the inverse? Can it take on a persona that is overly critical and disagreeable? What would that look like? Interesting premise. I mean, like, it's definitely not your doomsday AI taking over the world scenario, but that could definitely give a lot of people a lot of trauma. That's cyberbullying at its worst. Anyway, we're actively testing new fixes to address the issue. We're I'm sorry, guys. I'm a bit sick this morning, but we're going to power through. We're revising how we collect and incorporate feedback to heavily weight long-term user satisfaction, and we're introducing more personalization features, giving users greater control over how ChatGPT behaves. We want to explain what happened, why it matters, and how we're addressing sycophancy. Okay, give us the retrospective. This is actually pretty amazing. In tech companies, usually you do a post-mortem for really big screw-ups and you keep it internal to the company. But I think what ChatGPT is doing is they're making the post-mortem public. I mean, this is a pretty big screw-up, so I guess they want to take some pretty extreme measures. In last week's GPT 4.0 update, we made adjustments aimed at improving models' default personality to make it more intuitive and effective across a variety of tasks. When shaping model behavior, we start with baseline principles and instructions outlined in our model spec. We also teach our models how to apply these principles by incorporating user signals like thumbs up, thumbs down. Those are the little icons that you can click when you get a response from ChatGPT to provide feedback. However, in this update, we focused too much on short-term feedback and did not fully account for how users' interactions with ChatGPT evolve over time. As a result, GPT 4.0 is skewed towards responses that were overly supportive and but disingenuous. I love how transparent they are being about this. Like ChatGPT, because of the large amount of users it has, any mess up that makes users lose trust in ChatGPT. And there's a lot of options out there. You can go to Claude, you can go to Gemini, right? Owning up to the fact that ChatGPT messed up and it was disingenuous, it was offering blatantly wrong answers, and opening the doors to the possibility that this may happen again in the future, risks OpenAI losing a ton of customers to their competitors. But they're being transparent about it anyway, which I kind of respect. Why this matters, I'll skip over it. How we're addressing sycophancy, let's get into it. Rolling back beyond latest GPT 4 update, we're taking more steps to realign the model's behavior, refining core training techniques and system prompts to explicitly steer the model away from sycophancy. Okay, so they're going to check responses before they are ferried to the user, building more guardrails to increase honesty and transparency principles in our model spec. Okay, so the model spec again is what determines, is sort of the core tenet that determines how ChatGPT responds. I think this was addressed earlier in the article. Expanding ways for more users to test and give direct feedback before deployment. All right, bring human feedback, a bit of A/B testing into the fold before you roll out a new model. Continue expanding our evaluations based on the model spec and our ongoing research to help identify issues beyond sycophancy in the future. All right, sure. Cool. I love how ChatGPT is handling this. I hope they don't lose too many users over this. And I hope ChatGPT does not go dark mode. I hope ChatGPT, people don't get into BDSM relationships with chatbots because they have a dark, aloof personality or they are being demeaning. Some people are into that kind of stuff. All right, what do we have next? Airbnb is quietly rolling out. Hang on, let me actually pull up. There we go. Yeah, I just wanted to keep a eye on the chat as we get into this next piece. Okay, Airbnb is quietly rolling out an AI customer service bot in the US. Optically, this doesn't sound too complicated. A simple chatbot integration that is going to be trained on all of the corpus of data that is available on Airbnb, on user booking history, on host booking history, and is going to be able to service users better. I think the difference between your run-of-the-mill chatbots that are designed to have a snapshot of data that they're trained on and then they're good to interact with customers, help them out, versus introducing a support bot for a platform like Airbnb, which gets a ton of bookings, which gets a ton of message exchanges between hosts and guests, is that the chatbot continuously needs to be trained. So while the concept is simple, I think it will cost Airbnb quite a bit of an investment. I assume they're going to be hiring or allocating engineers to this project in droves. Okay, Airbnb started rolling out an AI-powered customer service bot in the US last month. CEO Brian Chesky said during the firm's first quarter conference call on Thursday. Chesky said 50% of Airbnb's users are already using the AI bot for customer service, adding that the company plans to roll out the feature to all its users in the country this month. Nothing too super interesting yet. One thing I'll say about AI is that it is definitely making the customer experience easier. I mean, sure, on behalf of Airbnb, it's going to be easier because you have less humans having to take on the trouble of solving customer issues. It has already led to a 15% reduction in people needing to contact live human agents. Okay, that's a good statistic, right? But is that because you just make the process super annoying? I mean, I know a lot of airlines um, intentionally obfuscate how you can get a direct line of access to a human customer service agent. And if you obfuscate the process, if you're burying the human contact person behind layers and layers of, oh, automated responses, here's an article that you can look into for this particular problem, then people are just going to get frustrated and not going to try to reach live human agents. Is that why you're seeing a reduction? If not, then this is pretty impressive. Last year, the company told TechCrunch that it was testing the technology, but in a limited manner and only for certain queries. Fair. I think there's a lot of potential for applying AI to the business. We think a lot about how AI is going to change the experience at the customer layer over time. Airbnb co-founder Nathan Blasharsik, I hope I didn't butcher that name, told TechCrunch at the time. Well, this is pretty encouraging. I think that um, integrating AI into platforms like Airbnb, which don't really give you a lot of opportunity to create content, right, is interesting. It isn't like Canva or it isn't like, I don't know, Google Scholar, where there's a large corpus of text and people are trying to get information from the platform. Airbnb is a marketplace. People are just trying to transact on the platform. So opportunities to inject AI into such a platform is limited, but hey, as long as Airbnb is not going AI first. Rising star defense tech startup Mach Industries is raising $100 million, sources say. Dude, all right, this is a bit of a. Are we ever going to see a person of color? Not that I have any issue with, like white founders, but are we ever going to see a person of color start a defense startup? Is it ever going to be a thing? Is America going to be ready for that? Crazy thought. But yeah, I mean, there aren't too many defense startups to start with, but we have. Who is this guy? This guy and Bomber Lucky is the other guy that started Enduro Industries, another defense tech startup. So what do we got here? 21-year-old Ethan Thornton. This guy's 21 years old and he's contracting his company's products, getting contracts from the Department of Defense. This is a wild, wild achievement, but also a wild state of affairs. This dude is 21 years old and he's founded a defense tech company that's raised $100 million, co-led by investor Khosla Ventures and existing investor Bedrock Capital. A source familiar with the deal tells TechCrunch. The new round will value the company at around $470 million, according to the source. However, the deal hasn't closed and terms may still change. The coastal investor leading the deal is Keith Rabois. Mach Industries is a buzzy defense tech startup, a status propelled by its founding origin story and connection to Sequoia. Okay, what Sequoia? What is this buzzy origin story? Thornton, Ethan Thornton, the 21-year-old founder, was just a teenager when he dropped out of MIT. Okay, now we're starting to see a bit more of the pieces falling into place. This guy's an MIT dropout, and he dropped out of MIT when he was a teenager. So this guy is a savant, which was Sequoia's first defense tech investment. All right, good for you, Sequoia. Mach is developing vertical lift-off vehicles and weapons that can carry from the edge of space. Work from the edge of space. Okay, if you put two and two together here, this is a space laser. I don't know what this is. I mean, so your this is going to allow um, vehicles that can transport weapons to space, and you're going to deploy weapons from what is it, the Garmin line or whatever they call it, which is the edge of space. Katy Perry is not going to be happy about that. That is not love and peace coming from the edge of space. It is also developing smaller factories that can be easily built and distributed when more production is needed. In March, Mach announced it was selected by the Army Applications Laboratory to develop a vertical takeoff precision cruise missile it calls Strategic Strike. It also announced plans for its first factory, a 115,000 square foot facility in Huntington Beach, California. This is actually insane. You know, like it's one thing to found a tech startup when you're 21 years old, but this is a very hardware heavy, hard engineering challenge that this young person from a dropout from MIT is taken on. And this isn't just another missiles company, right? This is combining aerospace and yeah, missile technology to build something that I don't think anybody else has built, right? This is going to be launching rockets from outer space. This is some Tony Stark level stuff. Anyway, um, kudos, kudos, my young dude. Remember, with great responsibility, I messed that up. With great power comes great responsibility. Remember that from your good old Uncle Ben. Grand Theft Auto 6, the biggest expected biggest gaming event of the year, is delayed until May 2026. Boo hoo. Enter the flood of memes. The meme lives on. GTA. We are going to get so many more things before the drop of GTA 6. What is causing the holdup? Rockstar Games. We need answers. Give us some answers. I am not a gamer. I actually don't care all that much, but I live for the memes. Now says it will release the highly anticipated video game on May 26, 2026. The game was first announced in February of 2022. That's a 4-year term this game is getting in its incubation. The biggest video game of the year won't be coming out this year. Delayed games developer allowance, blah, blah, blah. Do we know what caused the delay? We are very sorry that this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding a new Grand Theft Auto has truly been humbling for our entire team. Humbling is great. Make the team work harder. Give them overtime. Hire more developers. Use AI. Whatever have you. Just make it happen faster. The developer wrote in a statement. Oh, this is a developer. Where's your PR team, dude? Why are we giving developers more responsibilities than they need when they should be at their desks working on building this game? Hire the PR team to talk to these publications, to talk to Fortune. With every game we have released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations. This is a very well-versed developer. 6 is no expectation. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. Take-Two Interactive Software, I guess they own Rockstar Games, tanked 7.5% in early trading Friday on the news. Grand Theft Auto 5 has been the biggest seller of the past 10 years, and the game continues to be a cash generator for publisher Take-Two Interactive Software. Life to date, the game has sold over 210 million copies, generating more than 9.5 billion in worldwide revenue. What an insane uh, seller of a game. It's just absolutely menacing sales numbers. Okay. All right. So, what is our boy Elon up to now. Meet Elon Musk's new Doge staffer, a college student assigned to revolutionize agency rules and regulations using AI. What is up with young talents taking the space by storm today? Let's dig in deeper. Elon, I've always wanted to do a profile on one of these Doge staffers to understand where they come from, what makes them qualified to decide where government funding goes. Maybe this is going to be that sneak peek. Elon Musk's Doge initiative continues to impact Washington, D.C., exemplified by HUD's hiring of Christopher Sweet. Oh, what a sweet young boy. A young and relatively inexperienced individual to revise federal regulations. Since Elon Musk himself is departing Washington, D.C., his Doge initiative is still shaking up the government. One recent instance of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, employing Christopher Sweet, a young and inexperienced man. Dude, call him young, don't call him inexperienced. Give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. What's he about? To help revise federal regulations. The action serves to illustrate the disorderly effect. Okay, this is pretty biased. Oh, this is Times of India. All right, guys. Well, we're going to try to sort of sift through the bias here, but let's read on. Illustrate the disorderly effect of Doge's method of reforming the government, where oftentimes untrained recruits are assigned to major positions with minimal backup. The appointment is problematic regarding the efficacy and long-term impact of Doge's practices, since the government increasingly struggles to deal with intricate regulations and provide responsible and experienced leadership. Wow, that felt super duper um, charged, emotionally charged. What are these? I want to hear more about this guy. Who is this Christopher Sweet? Let's, I think this article is not going to do us any justice. So let's look into this guy's profile on the internet. Are we gonna dive into Reddit? Are we gonna do Reddit? No, no, no. We can do better. Oh, okay. Hasn't graduated college. Is using AI to rewrite an entire agency's rules and regulations. Is this Christopher Sweet? Is yet to obtain his undergraduate degree, artificial intelligence, to rewrite an entire agency's rules and regulations. Is this Christopher Sweet? This is Christopher Sweet. Okay, a student with no prior government experience in an email to the department employees this month, noting that Sweet was recently a third year at the University of Chicago. My boy's based out of Chicago. Okay, I mean, pretty selective school, but that does not mean you know the qualms of the real world. You don't know where rubber meets the road yet. Some of these concerns are super well founded, dude. I mean, you're like a junior in college. Should you really be digging into the coffers of the Department of Housing and Urban Planning, Urban Development, um, where he was studying economics and data science? The school confirmed that Sweet is on leave from the undergraduate college, so he didn't really drop out. He's gonna cut some costs from housing and urban development. He's gonna go straight back to one of the most liberal colleges on the face of the planet, to fanfare and a warm welcome from his very liberal colleagues and classmates. Senior year is going to be absolutely wild for this guy. I can tell you that right now. Okay, Department of Housing and Urban Development. What a depressing sign, dude. Oh my God. You guys are supposed to be the face of housing. Try to look more welcoming and accommodating. This looks like a prison. And Chris Sweet has joined the HUD Doge team with the title of Special Assistant, although a better title might be AI Computer Programming Quant Analyst. The next time you join a trading firm, just market yourself as a quant analyst or call yourself a special assistant. Either or. All right. Enough of this guy. I hope he is able to go back to his studies in economics and data science when he's done slashing government funds for housing and urban development. Okay, what do we have? We'll end with this piece right here. Did the internet die in 2016? This isn't really, it's something I've been thinking about quite a bit. It definitely is a little bit of a conspiracy theory-esque rabbit hole that we're going to get into. What do you guys think? I want to know in the comments. But there is an online community that strongly thinks that the internet, as we know, consisting of real people, died out in 2016. What are the points in this case? Dead internet theory. Could there be any truth to this wild premise? It certainly is wild. Trisha, what are you trying to do to convince us into the fold for dead internet theory? Take it away, Trisha. I've got two words for you, shrimp Jesus. If you don't know, what a crazy way to start an article. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the infamous AI-generated Facebook image of shrimp Jesus. I do not know what this is. And other variations floating around the internet. The image first surfaced in March 2024 and appeared to be a meme at first glance. I mean, what else could it be? It's shrimp Jesus. It's anything but a meme. However, Shrimp Jesus is a jumping off point for Facebook AI art slop. This is what we're doing for coding projects these days. It's a lot of AI slop. These consist of newly AI generated memes sweeping the internet, such as the Chala horse. I don't know any of these memes. Dude, am I such a hardcore boomer? This content isn't available. Cite your sources better, Trisha. I'm joking. I'm not trying to be harsh on anybody. Just trying to see one of these memes. Chala horse image Zuckerberg loved was originally created as a warning about Facebook AI slop. This is the first time I'm seeing this image. I mean, it's got meme potential. Wow, 2.6 million users reacted to this. People, I don't understand people sometimes, right? But that's the beauty of living in a world that's so varied. Anyway, these are the memes that you may or may not be familiar with. You might think these are just memes, but these images reignite discussions surrounding an old online conspiracy called Dead Internet Theory, which began in 2021. As somebody who writes about, obviously, the post-COVID crowd with their tinfoil hats, brewing deeper, darker conspiracy theories, had to spew out something about the internet as well. I'm not sold on the dead internet theory just yet, but let's also put the origin of this theory in the context of the historical timeline. Everybody and their grandmas was stuck at home with their thoughts, nobody to talk to, baking these theories in their head. As somebody who writes about the internet for a living, this was the first time I'd heard of this idea, and researching it led me down a bottomless rabbit hole from which I struggled to emerge. But if you frequently use TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, you might have unwittingly already seen examples of online that echo this premise. So, what is dead internet theory, and how does it parallel? I should probably pop some meds. How does it parallel the rise of artificial intelligence? What is dead internet theory? The dead internet theory first emerged in 2021. Just cut to the chase, dude. What is this? I mean, I can already guess what this is, but let's see. Okay, okay, this is the claim. People took to these forums claiming that the internet died in 2016. Why specifically 2016? And that AI bots mostly run the content we now see online. This theory also supports the possibility that AI is being used to manipulate the public due to a much larger and sinister agenda. These posts were pieced together. I mean, dude, this seems pretty wild to me. I mean, um, running bots is not cheap. Running inference and to make these bots look anything but NPC is going to be expensive. But then again, most of the interactions you have online in the comments section, at least in the comments section, are pretty low quality without a string or without a thread of continuity between interactions. These can potentially be bots. I'm sure there's a lot of bots in comment sections, right? You have very low quality interactions and engagement in the comment section. Um, all the more reason for you to go out and meet people in person and go to live events that are in person and involve you talking to a real human being. Unless we're in a simulation, then none of this is real. These posts were pieced together in a lengthy thread and published on another online forum called Agora's Road Macintosh Cafe. This person has definitely been around the internet. They are citing sources, dropping sources like they've been in business for a while. Now, years later, this conspiracy is seeing the light of day again with the rise of TikTok creators dissecting the theory and finding examples to support it. One creator with the username of Side Money Tom posted a video in March 2024 showing examples of different Facebook accounts posting variations of AI-generated images of Jesus. These images provide little traffic online, yet they can still easily proliferate your feed. Echoes the same sentiment. These Facebook accounts are run by AI bots and create all content. To better understand this theory, it helps to know how generative AI works. Okay, so I do agree that there's going to be a lot of accounts that are now run by AI agents, that are run by bots, that are going to be creating content that is indistinguishable from content that real users would create, video content that real users would create that is going to be AI generated. Um, but I think that is going to happen from this point onwards. It's still pretty expensive to generate realistic content that people are going to engage with. I mean, like, there's also those sort of Italian brain rot memes that have been raking in hundreds of millions of likes. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people do engage with absolutely brain rotty content that doesn't really have to be realistic. That could be the furthest thing from being realistic. Is the internet dead? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Maybe I got into the social media at absolutely the wrong time. Anyway, on that depressing note, I'm going to be ending the live stream today. Thank you, everybody or nobody that joined this chat stream. I'll try to log in same time tomorrow to bring you the latest